I still not have reference, and I'm going to use my anatomical knowledge, and I'm going to add over the transition of colors the structure of the collarbone. Also, I have to know how to draw a clavicle bone and the sternum as well. Even the main muscle who attach on top of it and is the sternocleidomastoideo, and including his mechanism. In fact, this muscle split in two parts and form an interesting shape in between two tendons. As you can see, I paint with a filbert brush, and with the tip I try to explain the form where the light touch the surface, and also where the tones change direction. And with a dry brush I attempt to disappear the boundaries from the light color and middle tone. Under the light there is the end of the clavicle bones. That's why on the surface of the skin I have a concave shape. In a gentle way I display my paint over the head of clavicle bone. I'm doing also the right side, and I use the hair to explain the form of the clavicle bone behind the ivory black, and this it's a clever idea. I don't use shadow or strong cast shadow in order to explain some anatomical part, but I use the overlapping shapes method like a Chinese philosophy yin and yang. In conclusion, to explain a three-dimensionality of the clavicle, I work with two flat shapes, one light and one dark. On the left side of the screen, I'm going to draw how to understand the collarbones. Also, structure and muscle on top of it. Briefly, let me explain. I drew the clavicle and on top of it the sternocleidomastoideus. This muscle is composed of two parts. The middle part attached to the sternum and the second part attached at the top of the clavicle bone. And for this reason, I will have an interesting heel over the head of the clavicle and the tendon of the sternocleidomastoideus. Therefore, the light hit the flash, and the flash cover a small mountain. In the end, I will apply my colors over on swelling and smooth surface. Think of the artists from the past. They didn't have a picture or video or smart technology. How they did all this beautiful painting. I think the difference from them to us, they used to use a lot of memory, a lot of imagination, and that's why we need to learn how to work without any reference. Okay, this is an important point of view. Try to challenge yourself, try to work with your knowledge, not reference at all, not real model. Try to use just your imagination, just your experience, and then you will see what you really know about human body. I may look how the old master did. For example, if I look Joshua Reynolds from 18th century, and if you pay attention at one of his paintings, the Lady's Walled Grave 7080, are working together in collaboration on a piece of embroidery. You may see that there is no strong cast shadow on the bottom of the chin, and the color of the middle tones around the neck, it's quite light. I'm sure he used to use a real model, but not for a long time, especially when you do a portrait of some rich person. Basically, they don't have a patient, and it's different than work with a professional model that you pay and the model pose for you for how long as you need. You can notice in the detail of the painting by Joshua Reynolds, on the right side of the neck, there is a gentle transition from the jaw to the neck. Also, the transition from the left side of the neck to the central part is soft. There is no dark shadow. And also the dark area, it's quite green respect the reddish color of the cheekbone. In contradiction, the shadow in the left side of the bony orbit, close to the bridge of the nose, it's dark and warm. Also the cast shadow on the bottom of the nose. In a normal situation of light, if you have a spotlight on the top of the forehead, you will have a cast shadow close to the bridge of the nose, and of course you will have a very dark shadow below the chin, over the neck. In conclusion, the light of Joshua Reynolds that he used to use, it's not natural light, it's the light of the mind. Or by observation, he did his personal idea of light. Finally, what I want to say is not necessarily really important to copy exactly the picture or to copy exactly the model that you have in front of you, but it is an excellent concept to create your personal vision of the light. And if you see something ugly like a dark shadow over the neck, please don't do it. Please be like an artist, paint a beautiful things. In our time, we work too much by the picture and we do many mistakes. I saw many artists, when they paint a portrait, they do a cast shadow on the bottom of the chin so dark because they copy the picture in a mechanical way. This is wrong because I love to see a beautiful neck of the lady. Of course, it's my opinion, but why I have to do a dark shadow like a ghost, even in the bony orbit? I saw many professional artists put all the eyes into the shadow, and you will have an effect like a Ray-Ban glass on the top of the face, and this is terrible. So instead of be lazy, learn how to draw eyes, nose, lips and neck, and paint in the light or in the middle tones all these features of the portrait, rather than disappear everything in a very dark shadow and the portrait it looks like a ghost. Try to distinguish, like Joshua Reynolds, one thing from another. What is really important for you? Which light and shadow would you like to have on your portrait? Be clever, be flexible, don't be rigid, don't copy exactly what you say. Have a debate with yourself. Try to find a right decision. Try to find a fantastic way how to express yourself. I have to add more warm white, and I paint below the clavicle bone and blend the form of the clavicle into the light. I need some gray color, and it's already on the tip of my brush, and I lay down one long strip of color in between hair and flesh. On the top of the clavicle I want to add more light. I disappear the sharp line in between hair and flesh by a 01 brush. I continue to render in the form in between flesh and the head of the clavicle. This passage is really delicate because I don't have reference. That's why I'm thinking a lot and I try to visualize the planes of the collarbone. Furthermore, I don't want to leave strong, evident patches. That's the goal, to be able to fill the form and slightly to remove all paint marks. Also, if you remove all paint marks but you lose the sense of the form, it doesn't make sense. It means that you worked without any logical reason. Furthermore, I continue to blend the outline of the hair in through the color of the flesh. And close to the clavicle bone, I add more brown tone to get the top of the clavicle more understandable. And I paint towards the vertical and frontal plane of it. The essential things that I have to do is to maintain the balance from completely smooth surface to muscle and bones behind the skin. In other words, I may lose form or I may lose the drawing in order to feel the sense of the atmosphere, or I may lose the sense of the atmosphere because I need to see the drawing again, or I may lose the sense of 3D because I have to disappear all paint marks. Everything that I'm going to do has to be connected with all these techniques, and when I have a good balance of all these things, I will have a great result. In some circumstances, I may exaggerate the form like I'm doing now. For example, I try to add more hair because I want to exploit the shape of the curls, and I use it to fill the collarbone behind the skin. It's an excellent trick, and even if I don't see these things in the model, I could do it. It becomes an artistic interpretation. Okay, the painting is finished. Thank you for watching me, and everything that you saw is made by myself. Be patient is something was not perfect, and I hope the next one it will be better. And continue to watch my YouTube channel and also my website. I will update all new projects. Oh, don't forget to subscribe at my channel.